Healing journeys. So many people are on theirs. I think it's a beautiful thing. I want to caution you, though, that while you're on your healing journey, that rather than being so focused on the past and all the trauma and all of the things that led you to the point that you believe you need healing, see that's in quotes? Yeah, I'm going to talk about why we need to be careful about being so focused on the healing that we're not fixed on the wellness, because they are two different vibrations. The fact that you even need healing has everything to do with how you were programmed. It was what you were programmed to believe about every single thing you've experienced. So I believe that we are programmed into limitations, and it is the limitations that we need to overcome, not necessarily the experiences. And with the programming, listen, we are all being programmed like water coming from fire hydrants. That is a high pressure program from every which way. So we're going to hit several of those different ways, from how you were programmed through your childhood years, through parenting and family and friends, to how you were programmed through schooling, and then socialized and getting stuff from every industry that wants a piece of you, that wants to program you, that wants to limit you. Okay? So from my perspective, there is only one thing you need to understand in order to overcome any and everything. That's you. Hi, my name is Zara Green. I'm glad you're here. What I do over here is all things personal development, because we're all on our evolutionary journey, for sure. I believe personal development should never cease. That is not to say that you are broken or that you need fixing. But if you're stuck on anything, then you need a different way to view that thing in order to move beyond it. If you enjoy what you get over here, I invite you to subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Let's get started. So we're going to cover three different areas: parenting and family and friends, and then schooling and exactly what that means and what that's done to, for, or against you, and then societal limitations, programs that have placed some limitations on you that you may not have considered. Because here is ultimately what I believe makes all the difference. If we can all understand that each and every single one of us, no matter what your background is, we've all been programmed, then we can offer ourselves grace as well as everybody around us. And then we're able to loosen those things that have governed us in ways that we think are just gonna be a lifelong kind of thing, when nothing has to be lifelong. From all of the information that you've gathered throughout your life, you have made both assumptions and made agreements with those things. Anything that is impacting you heavily, then you have made some agreements about it, whether that's positively or negatively. So what I'm telling you is that whatever you have agreed with, assumptions you have made about whatever is negatively impacting you, you can find something that is as positive, that does not have the limitations, that can begin to positively affect you. Close the gap on that thing that's causing you so much pain. But there are many industries out here that it is to their advantage if you remain limited, if you remain stuck, if you believe negative things about yourself rather than getting a higher, a better, a more beneficial perspective that does not limit you. Because if you've been programmed, all it means is that you need to look at the programming. Now, this is not to minimize your pain. It's not to minimize the experiences you've had. It's not to say that there has not been trauma. Okay, the trauma is there, but it is how you view it that is limiting you from getting past it if you think that you still need to be on a lifelong journey of healing from it. Okay? Because everything holds vibration. I just did a video, my last video, and I'll put it down in the description, talking about how everything holds vibration. So your emotions, your attitudes, your thoughts, everything that you hold, and in terms of how you feel your way through or allow your perspectives to be about whatever you've been through, then it holds a vibration, which means it can keep you stuck. And in low vibration, if you don't get a better understanding, that removes the limitation from that thing, because there is absolutely nothing in your life that you need to be limited by. Okay? I believe that everybody ought to reserve the right in their lives to change their goddamn minds. So from all the programming, all you have to do is change your mind about it, remove the limitation, get a higher vibrational thought about it, and you can move through that thing. You can close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. Let's get started. Parents, family, friends, we all got them. They were our foundation. And we all have very different foundations. It doesn't matter even if you were brought up in the same household. I say all the time, unless you are considering every aspect of your life, most importantly, temperament, who each person is in the family, and at different stages of the family, different times, different decades, then you're all different. How you interact is very different. So the only thing that matters in your life is you and how things affect you. I can't say that enough. I can't overstate it. And it's why I focus so much on individuality. Consider myself an individuality advocate because my life has been about temperament. Things affect you as an individual. And so I will continue to emphasize that getting opinions from everything and everybody around you is not going to positively impact you most of the time, because how something is for somebody else is not how it's going to be for you. So, what we're basically talking about right now are environmental influences, and we are all impacted by those environmental influences. So, family is our first cult, right? A cult, I've talked about this before. It is just some beliefs that are passed on and agreed upon within a group. So, your family is your first cult. And everybody's in a cult. Everybody starts out in a cult. And as we get older, then we seek people who have the same understanding. Again, programming. Now, that programming, at some point, you're going to get some program that limits. I say this all the time, too. The one thing that every single parent passes on to their children, every parent, is their conditioning. What we pass on is our conditioning because it's what we believe most. It is what has been programmed, because we're little computers. It's what we've been programmed to believe, which is also why you have to give yourself so much grace, especially as parents, when you recognize that what you passed on to your children, especially after your evolution, to realize that you gave them the same damn thing you were given. Well, you're a computer. And if you have reached a point now where you are ready to change your goddamn mind, change your mind. Go to your children, let them know, hey, listen, I learned some things since then. I've changed my mind about it. I know it's negatively impacted you, and I am really hoping that you are able to evolve in the same ways that I have. And if there's anything I can do to help you, then I'm here to do that. Because as parents, even, when you start to look at the programming, then rather than feel bad about it, I mean, it doesn't mean that you don't have some remorse because you didn't understand it before, but the only thing you know is what you know. So as a parent, as you continue to evolve and you learn some things, then just own whatever it was. It doesn't matter how you got there, none of that even matters. What matters is where you are right now and how you are able to make the most of where you are right now. And once we're all adults, it's up to every single person to do what they need to do for themselves. It is each person's responsibility to identify their programming and then to grow beyond those limitations. This is life school, y'all. We all came here to learn more and to grow. All you could give was what you had. If you got some more now, try and give that now too. If they're receptive, beautiful. If they're not, go on with your own evolution, removing more limitations, and maybe one day they'll come along for the ride. If they choose not to, we're all on our own individual journey. Now, let me be clear, because there are many children of parents who have evolved and who recognize a lot of these things, but the parents have not. So it can go both ways. I can already see you in the comments. But my mama, but my daddy, yeah, I know. Now, because family is the first cult, there are some programs that go along with certain cultures. If you grew up, and I'm going to use one of the most polarizing ones right now, is race. If you grew up in a white family that practiced whiteness and believed in whiteness, there is a superiority complex that needs to be overcome. That is part of your limitation when you go out into the broader community. And now, Black, same thing. If you were brought up in a culture that says that Black means minority, and Black means that you will be limited, and Black means that you do have to work harder than the rest, and Black means da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, then hell, you have been programmed. Those are creating some limitations. So we have a lot of programming that came from the very foundation of your being. And to be able to go back to that stuff, clear it out, and to remove those limitations means that you are clearing your mind for some higher vibrational stuff so that you are not stuck on things like race. So when society decides to bait you with some things that are race related, then you are vibrating differently. And that thing is going to start to feel off to you. You are no longer susceptible. We're all susceptible to stuff. You get to decide what those things are. Check your limitations. And we tend to choose our friends based on those who believe as we believe. And rather than teach anything about that, I will just leave you to think about it. Schooling. Whew. Y'all, this one might get a little tight, I'm telling you now. Because I believe that our schooling system, especially in the United States, I believe it is the most indoctrinated institutions there is. From the moment we start, at whatever age you start, wherever you start. It doesn't matter, public school, private school, boarding school, it does not matter. Talk about indoctrination. So it starts as kids, for sure. And because most institutions are just about indoctrination, then they don't understand, and parents don't understand, that no child comes here a blank canvas. We all come here with particular leans and propensities. When we get to school, there are these boxes that children are expected to fit into, that the teachers have been conditioned and indoctrinated to force them into, that does not consider the most important parts of us, our temperament, which includes how we learn, sensory perception, modes of communication, multiple intelligences. We are not the same, yet structured schooling treats us all the same. That is where most of adult problems began. And because there are multiple intelligences, then we are going to be smart in different kinds of ways. But the two ways that the most emphasis are placed are linguistic, language, and math. So if those aren't the strengths of people in school, then it automatically starts to affect individuals. So the people who tend to do well in school, then we already know that that's pretty much where their strengths lie, right? Unless they have some overbearing parents. Now, this isn't me judging parenting styles. This is me pointing out that there is a huge problem in the schooling system that ignores individuality. Okay, so here's where it's about to get tight. because those who fit well in the boxes were also set on a path to be able to go on to high school and college and even beyond, higher education. And here's what ends up happening in our society where schooling is concerned. People with higher education are bamboozled by their degrees and their profession. And I am here to tell you that your professional aptitude is no match for your personal problems. But you already know that, don't you? And for the record, my linguistic skills are off the charts, and I have higher education. So I'm not talking about you or them, I'm talking about us. So we've got to learn how to be smarter than the indoctrination. We have to learn how to recognize when something is moving us further and further away from who we are naturally and how we are intended to live. So my challenge to you is to look beyond the things that society tends to validate us with and for, and tap into who you are and start to live from your core, because you're either living from your core or your conditioning. Your conditioning is always to the advantage of others or other institutions, not to your own advantage. Society. Oh man, talk about a fire hydrant of marketing. It is everywhere. You can't step outside. Heck, if you've got televisions, which I have them, but I choose what I watch very selectively, and it is never, ever news. And I do my best not to watch anything that has any kind of commercials, because before you know it, you will believe you've got every kind of disease imaginable. I cannot believe that we have a society that allows the pharmaceutical industry to market directly to you, when all you need, I'm telling you, this is why personal growth should never stop. This is why understanding all of the different ways that we are programmed is imperative for you to live a life of peace. The only thing that is necessary for you to buy into a particular thing, a belief, is that there is a strong enough image that produces an emotion within you that has, and is usually fear-based. If the pharmaceutical industry can scare you enough with a disease, eventually, damn it, you're going to start feeling some symptoms. And when you are sitting there repeatedly getting that, then come on, y'all. You got to be kinder to yourself. You really do have to watch and pay attention to what you yield yourself to. Now, that was just one example of how society continues to push its agendas. Everything and everybody has an agenda. And if you do not have an agenda for your own life, then you will submit time and time again to those of others. I've been saying that for years. It's in every publication I've ever done. You have to have an agenda for your own life, or you will fall prey. You are susceptible. You will be floating around like a fart in the wind, trying to figure out who you are, grasping at whatever you can, which is what most of society is doing right now. You have to gain better control of who you are by understanding who you are, so that you can live from your core, not conditioning. My hope is that I've given you some other things to consider while on your healing journey. And as a result of my own evolution, today is 22 November 2022. Ooh, I hadn't even thought of that. Our world has changed. Much of what I have done and taught was along with corporations training people to be what they needed them to be. Yeah, I was in the indoctrination business too. But what I've done longer is temperaments, individuality. What I'm telling you is that the only thing that you need to focus on is you. And the only way to overcome the things about you that hinder you is to really get to know who you are. As part of my own evolutionary process, my sight is down right now as I am reevaluating exactly what is important, because I've taught a lot of things, but the reality is the only thing that anybody ever really needs to do is to get to know themselves. So I am simplifying my site and really boiling things down and back to what it was back in the 1990s when I first started this. And that is getting to your core so that you can overcome any conditioning. That's it. That's what's important on your healing journey. It is to focus on wellness, because healing itself is a vibration and wellness is a separate vibration. When you understand who you are and you're able to transcend those things about you that hinder you, then you're able to align yourself with wellness a lot quicker. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. If you know some people who will enjoy this too and can get something out of it, please share, comment below, and I look forward to you on the next one. Until next time, it's your life. Choose it as it is. Own it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Change it. As long as you can breathe and learn, it can get better. Ciao for now.